If you or your child have type 1 diabetes, then you're definitely going to want to listen to this. This is some very exciting research coming out of the Mayo Clinic, and it just got released today. So in order to cure type 1 diabetes, you have to be able to hide a beta cell that produces insulin from the immune system. And these researchers figured out that cancer cells have a very sneaky way of hiding themselves from the immune system, and they are hijacking that whole idea from the cancer cells and trying to use it for type 1 diabetes. They found that there is a sugar molecule that cancer cells use on their surfaces to hide from the immune system. It's called sialic acid. Here is a picture of that magic molecule, sialic acid, and while it is considered a sugar, it doesn't have much in common with glucose besides this center ring-like structure here. It has a carboxylic acid group over here. It's a 9-carbon molecule compared to glucose, 6-carbon molecule. It's much more complex. It's involved in immune signaling and modulation, whereas glucose is just used for energy. This is Dr. Virginia Shapiro at the Mayo Clinic, who is the mastermind behind all of this very exciting research right now. I looked into it. I don't think she is related to Dr. James Shapiro, who's the famous Canadian doctor who is also working very hard on curing type 1 diabetes. But man, if you have the last name of Shapiro, I guess you are destined to work on type 1 diabetes. Dr. Shapiro's team found in a preclinical model, which usually means mice, that it is possible to take sialic acid and bind it to an insulin-producing beta cell, which would enable the immune system to tolerate the cell. This is extremely exciting. She said in this article, "Our findings show that it's possible to engineer beta cells that do not prompt an immune response." Do you guys understand how exciting this is? So a few years ago, Dr. Shapiro's team figured out a trick that cancer cells are using to hide from our immune systems. She found that there's an enzyme called ST8-SIA6 that increases sialic acid on the surface of tumor cells, and it allows these tumor cells to appear to our immune system as though they are not foreign and that they should not be targeted. They found that expressing this enzyme literally sugarcoats these cancer cells in sialic acid and allows them to hide from the immune system. Remember, a cancer cell is a very abnormal cell that normally the body would attack through many different means, but they are able to hide from the immune system by coating themselves with this molecule. And she's thinking, what if we use the same thing for type 1 diabetes to protect beta cells? In the current study that they are working on right now, the team looked at some preclinical models that are known for the spontaneous development of type 1 diabetes. Basically, this means they took mice that behave most like a human when they get type 1 diabetes, and they engineered beta cells to produce that enzyme that I mentioned earlier, ST8-SIA6. And this is where it gets really exciting. They found that the engineered cells were 90% effective in preventing the development of type 1 diabetes. The beta cells that are typically destroyed by the immune system in type 1 diabetes were preserved in this case. And very importantly, they found that the immune response to these engineered cells appears to be highly specific, which is exactly what you want. This is Justin Cho, who also is working on the project. If that wasn't exciting enough, it gets even better. Dr. Cho went on to say that even though these beta cells were spared, the immune system remained fully intact. They were able to see evidence of B and T cell autoimmune response against another disease process. Dr. Cho says, "We found that the enzyme specifically generated tolerance against autoimmune rejection of the beta cell, providing local and quite specific protection against type 1 diabetes." That's exactly what you want to hear. Dr. Shapiro's goal is to cure type 1 diabetes without any immunosuppression. Whenever you hear that, it's very, very exciting. She wants to take this science that the body's already using to hide cancer cells and apply it to something much, much better, beta cells, so that we might be able to cure type 1 diabetes. She says that though we're still in the early stages, this study may be one step toward improving care. I think that's an understatement, Dr. Shapiro. I think we're one step closer to curing type 1 diabetes, and this is very exciting research, you guys. The human body already has several ways of hiding certain cells from the immune system. Think about the fetal-maternal interface, how the fetus is protected from certain pathogens that a mother may be exposed to. Think about the human eyeball. There's no immune cells that come into the human eyeball. As we understand these different ways that the body is already working, we might be able to hijack one of them and use them to cure type 1 diabetes. This is really exciting. So as horrible and awful as cancer is, it might have just thrown us a clue on how we might be able to cure this horrific disease of type 1 diabetes. Make sure you follow me here and on my Facebook group Crushing T1, and I'll keep you updated on any updates regarding this trial or anything else that's exciting. Remember, my 6-year-old daughter has type 1 diabetes. This is why I started this group.